And I just want to welcome you all here tonight. I know that you have a lot of things you could be doing during this time. Many of you don't feel well. I've had a challenging week as well. And I really have felt like this particular lesson is for all of us. And so we're going to talk about how to reset the temple, our temple, and how we can establish holy rhythms instead of resolutions. It's a time, a season, the first of the year. We talk a lot about resolutions, but I'm going to talk about another way of looking at that, of entering into this new year. So I just really welcome you all. And this is Dr. Nozella, Doctor of Education. Um, Many people know that my passion is just for everyone to achieve the quality of life that I believe that they desire and God intends for them to have. Professionally, I'm a director emeritus of the University Urban Extension Program, where I manage federal nutrition programs. I taught almost 20 years as a nutrition educator throughout the community, professor, writer, speaker, researcher, and a consultant. And like many of you and many of the things you've shared, I've had some struggles with how to live a life that's balanced and healthy with all the things that are going on. And one thing that I've learned, you hear me say it often, is we have to be very intentional, even protective about taking care of ourselves. And that means taking care of our bodies. But I want us this year to look at our bodies in a kind of fresh way. And I want us to invest in ourselves because our body is the temple of God. And I really think there's some things we can do to be proactive and some things we can do even as we find ourselves being reactive to things that are going on. So this time, this year, right now, I want you to think about the things that you want to change, but not in a way of you really pressuring yourself, just imagining yourself and how you want to be. Oftentimes we talk about goals, we talk about our dreams, we talk about the way we want life to be. We get real frustrated. In fact, predictions are that any resolutions that we made, any goals we've set in January, they will not last a month. Okay. And I kind of want to help us to reframe that a little bit this year in our thinking and to begin to celebrate a little bit more. So thanks a lot again for coming here. I do, because we're recording this, I want to make sure that I start out with our disclaimer. What I'm doing is not intended to replace your healthcare provider. It's not intended to diagnose, to treat, or cure any disease. It's for educational purposes. It's to empower you. Okay? So let's get on and talk about our objectives for today. We're talking about this resetting the temple, our body, and establishing holy rhythms, just the way we move through life. And the first thing we want to do is just reframe what New Year wellness resolutions even look like. And we want to introduce the Waffles framework again and discover how there are really some young living wellness supports that can be simple, easy, but also really supportive of how we want to care for our temple. But first of all, I want us to just get grounded wherever you are at right now. I'm going to ask you to just pause a minute. Just pause. Put your feet on the floor. If it's possible, relax. Relax your shoulders if you can do that. And I want you to just, if possible, take a slow breath. I know breathing can be difficult at times, but take a slow breath in and just a slow breath out. And just feel parts of your body relax. I don't want you to judge any part. Just notice how it's feeling. And just slow the breathing down as best you can. Build a little rhythm as best you can. January often comes with pressure. Those resolutions, those goals, things we want to fix, things we want to change, how we want to get the house, how we want to fix our relationships, how we want to do all these things. But tonight, I want us to just choose a different posture. I want us to think about being stewards of our body and not just striving. I want our theme in January to be resetting the temple, those holy rhythms, not resolutions. It's not about doing more. It's about returning to rhythms that will restore what has been depleted. So with that calmness, let's talk a little bit more about that. You know, scripture reminds us in 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20 that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. That just really resonates with me to really think about the temple of God and He's residing in you. God is residing, the Spirit is in you. And a temple is not rushed. A temple's not shamed. A temple is taken care of with reverence, with joy. So when we reframe the body as a temple, wellness stops being about punishing or perfection, and it can become an act of faith. And caring for our body becomes one way that we honor God. So I just ask you, instead of asking, what do I need to fix this year? Let's do away with that thinking and ask, what's the temple need right now? Not next week, not next month, not next year. What does the temple just need right now? And that shift alone can change how we approach our food, our rest, our movement, our stress, all the things that are going on. And that's what we want to do. So let's take a moment to understand what I like to use as the waffles, the very basics of what our temples need to be strong and have a sturdy foundation and thrive. This is kind of a simple framework, but it really helps us to remember the basics of daily temple care. And it seems simple because there's sometimes too simple because there's so many things out there that people are saying you need to do this, you need to add this. But I want us to just go back and settle in on these 7 basic elements that our body needs to thrive. It needs water. We know that hydration supports every system of your body. And in the wintertime, especially, many times we are dehydrated without even knowing it. 2/3 of people are dehydrated. And dehydration has flu-like symptoms, brain fog, fatigue, headache, joint issues, all just because of lack of water. So we're going to think about how we can make sure we're properly hydrated during this time. The A reminds us of the air and how important the quality of the air is that we're breathing. And it's interesting because I think the World Health Organization says that air quality is the largest problem with health around the world. And a lot of things affect that air quality in our environment that we cannot control. And there are many things that we can. And so we want to think about the things that we can that are around us. Just think about it. Stress shortens the breath. So just remembering to pause as we did at the beginning and breathe more when we're wanting to rush around. Remembering that slowing that breath down calms your nervous system, reduces cortisol. It kind of restores clarity. And then we can look at things like, is there smoke in our home from candles or that we can get rid of? Or are we changing our air filters? Are we avoiding fragrances? Those plugins, those are so very, very, very toxic. And because essential oils and fragrances have become so popular, people think they're all the same when they really aren't. And so making sure that if you are using any fragrance, it's a pure essential oil, not the kind where you only have to put 5% in the bottle and you can fill it with other things, but the kind that we know we have at Young Living that's 100% of the oil. And that's why we talk to people about switching out personal care products and laundry products and these types of things because they damage the air quality. And and one of the saddest things is during this time of the year, people are staying in more, and the air indoors is 100 times more toxic than the air outdoors. So our air is important because our body needs it so much. And there's many, many, many small things that we can just eliminate to simplify our lives during this time. The F reminds us of food, that food's nourishment, but it's not a punishment. We want to focus on being aware of what we're eating, but not just on restricting it. We'll talk about things like the blue zones and the people where people's food is pure and it's clean, and so they don't have a lot of the agricultural things affecting their food, and therefore they're getting more of that nourishment in. And there's some things that we can do when we live in an urban area. We don't have access to some of that quality food. But again, we want to see our food as nourishment. We want to bless it as it goes into our body. Second F has to do with fitness and movement. And we're not talking about going to the gym. We're not talking about working out intensely or any of that. That's not what we're talking about. Just being consistent to move, to get around. The body was made to move, and just consistent movement supports your circulation. It supports your strength. And we found that many health conditions, diabetes, anxiety, depression, even some cancers, can be improved just by improving one's fitness. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then love. How do we speak to ourselves? That matters. And I'm going to ask you, talking about the temple of God, how do you talk to that temple? Do you talk to others better than you talk to your temple? Okay. Shame disrupts healing, but compassion supports it. So it's important to express love to yourself, to smile, to laugh with yourself and others. And then the E is for emotions, because we know now that unprocessed emotions will live in the body and they will cause physical issues. So acknowledging the emotions is part of stewardship. Acknowledging the emotions is allowing it to pass through us is exactly how it was intended for us to be. And since we know all physical conditions now are connected to some kind of emotions, we don't know which comes first, we see how important it is to be aware of those. And yet we, and especially we as Black women, live in a society where we have not been allowed to express emotions healthfully. And so many of our issues are passed down from generation to generation. And I say that for women, but it's also an issue for men as well, because they have been taught to handle emotions in a way that's not healthy in many cases. And then sleep. And seeing that your sleep is sacred, because restoration happens when we rest. And yet there's a lot of things to disrupt our sleep. One is just all the cares of the world that are floating around, and the people we love and care, and the anxiety. Those are things. But there's also those external things like the lights that may be going on, or electronics, or things like that. So there are some things that we can do to help improve sleep as we begin to learn about them. But again, we want to think about what are some rhythms that we can improve. Again, we're not punishing ourselves, beating ourselves up, putting more pressure on ourselves. But I would say, ask yourself, which pillars might need the most attention today or in this moment? Your water, your air, your food, your fitness, your love, your emotions, your sleep. And I'd really encourage you to see the waffles, to begin to see this as you wake up, just begin to pray. How can I support my temple with the pillars of the waffles in the morning. And then as you go to sleep at night, ask yourself, how have I supported my temple with the pillars? Again, not to punish or blame or shame, but to thank your God, your resident, for what you have done and ask for wisdom for what you will need to do moving forward and improve your rest. There's some simple supports that we can do, and these are going to be a lot of reminders, just some real quick things to look at. If you want to really support that rhythm of water and your hydration, something as simple as including a drop of citrus oil in every glass of water that you drink, because you're going to be improving and boosting your immune system. Citrus oils boost the immune system so much. And so just a drop of a citrus or citrus fresh, which has been given as a free gift in water, or just adding electrolytes really makes a difference. One of the reasons many people are drinking water and it's not being assimilated well is they don't have electrolytes with it. So you can add electrolytes. So we have the YL electrolytes that you can just add a drop or two in. Mineral essence, minerals oftentimes that are missing from the water, because the challenge is we know that municipal water has lots of stuff in it that's very, very, very unhealthy. And so to avoid that, then we go to distilled or we go to reverse osmosis filtered water. But often it has taken the minerals out. So unless you're getting spring water and you live close to a spring, you're missing out on some very important things in the water. But adding something as simple as mineral essence to the water then really helps the water to really flow through the system better and carry the frequencies that your body needs in it are much better. So those are just some simple ways of doing it. And if you want to improve the air, one of the best ways is to make sure that you're diffusing. And you're diffusing pure 100% essential oils that you know are coming from the plant, that have not been contaminated with either the soil or the processing. So why we really support our Young Living oils. And diffusing in two ways. So a water diffuser, then you will be adding in some humidity. And in the wintertime, oftentimes water diffusing is a good thing to have because you want to add in the moisture in the air. And one of the easiest ways to tell if your water is too dry is to just set out a glass of water in an area of your home and see how quickly that water starts to evaporate. If it's evaporating really quickly within a day, then your air quality is dry, and you might prefer to have a diffuser that uses the water diffuser. The other one is a straight diffuser, and these are really wonderful when you want the intensity of your essential oil. This is also a time when I like, because of all the yuckies and viruses and things coming on, to use one of these. And so something like the new Wanderlust that is so simple to use, but you just put that bottle, you can put a bottle of Thieves in there, a bottle of any of your citrus oils, any of your oils that are designed to fight this type of seasonal um, viruses and stuff like that. Put that oil in there, and it's a straight oil. It's straightly going into the air. Wonderful way to purify the air. And I carry those diffusers with me. So I have one in the car, but when I'm going to be in meetings, I also have one that I can diffuse. When I work the elections, I take a diffuser with me and run that diffuser with me. So I'm helping my air and everybody else's air. And of course, if you don't have a diffuser, you can always do a simple scent tint. 2 or 3 drops of oil on your hand, rub your hand together, hold that over your nose, and do deep breaths with it. And continue to breathe until you're getting the benefit of that. Keep in mind that when you diffuse, and especially when you're doing the scent tint, I'm telling you, it goes right into the brain within seconds. It's very, very, very quick. With food, as I mentioned before, we really, really struggle. to get clean, nutrient dense food in our systems, and it's even harder in the winter. It's a good thing to think about the term the G bombs. G bombs are often the foods that we're missing the most of: the greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. G bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds are awesome. But we want to make sure that we're getting macronutrients, micronutrients, and minerals, vitamins. And it's interesting now because when I first started studying nutrition, they only had a few vitamins that they thought was important. They didn't even have terms like macronutrients and micronutrients. And now we got peptides and polypeptides because they're learning more and more and more about what's in the food that we need. But we don't have to stress about that because there are some ways to get in some high density nutrients in our body quickly, without a lot of stress, and still enjoy the food that we have with us here. So, and then fitness, there are some real simple ways that you could just move. Of course, it'd be nice to go to the dance or be in a fitness class. We have had a fitness class that has met by Zoom. There's apps that will allow you to do those types of fitness programs. But just even sitting now, moving your feet up and down as you're sitting listening to this class, or moving your arms, or walking in your chair. And watching TV is an excellent time to get some movement in. Say at every commercial, you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to get up and just walk around the room one time with each commercial. You'd be amazing how much movement you got in. And the best thing is you're getting movement in throughout the day. We do know that it's more helpful if people move all throughout the day, not just do that one hard 30 to 1 hour workout in the morning and then sit down the rest of the day, which is something I used to do. But the body was designed to move. So the more ways you can think about how you can move, the better. Um, and then your emotions. This is where the stress management techniques come in. We could do a whole class and have done, and probably we'll do another one on the different techniques for stress management. But that's going to include breath work. Simply pausing like we did at the beginning of this class and taking 2 or 3 deep breaths. That's a rhythm that we can set each time we decide. Say, every time I move to a different room, I'm going to just pause and do 3 breaths. Or every time I move from one thing to the next, I'm going to just pause and take 3 breaths. Every time I go into a store or I go into a meeting, I'm going to just pause and take 3 breaths. It'd be amazing how much that will benefit your nervous system. Things like journaling are excellent ways of working with emotions, allowing us to identify what they are, acknowledge them. It's some of us, and I am one, that has been so trained to ignore, push down the emotions that I don't always recognize that they're even there. And so they're coming out in other ways. And I'm just beginning to recognize, oh, this is how you're feeling. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with these feelings. It's the actions that we take sometimes after the feeling. The feeling is not wrong. The feeling is a gift. The feeling comes through our temple, which is our temple of the spirit, right? So it's there. And acknowledging it, and then we look at how we can support it. And there's so many ways we could do that. And then lastly, simple support for sleep is just beginning to prepare for that. What are some things that I can easily do to make my rest time a sacred time? Um, Not a rush time, not a time that's um, expendable. So I have all these things to do, and then I'll see if I can get sleep in. But a necessary time. Remember, during creation, those 6 days of work, and then God rested on that seventh day. God rested, real rest. And if God needed to rest on the seventh day, how much more do we, and how much more should we rest with our temple? So, really preparing for ways to do that. some simple rhythms that you might say you start your morning. Every morning you just start your morning, put a little drops of citrus fresh vitality in your water, pause a little bit, give some thanks there. Already you're developing rhythms that are supporting your temple. Say you want to get some fitness in, taking your essential oil, your wintergreen, just massaging it on your body before you decide to move around during the day. Some people like to dilute it a little and just do some gentle stretching with it, but it's listening to the body. What does the body need? Okay, is it looking for a little bit of support? And say, for emotions and air and all the seasonal support. Remember, January is a time when a lot of people um, think about sunlight and seasonal shifts, and we haven't had as much sunlight as we normally get. So this may be a time where you want to support that with the Super Ds, an amazing supplement that just is dissolved in the tongue. It's easily assimilatable, and it can just easily be a part of the winter routine. Um, you can take it with food, without food. Again, just having it in a place where it's easy. Part of it is a consistency. So placing things so they're, the things that you're going to use as you brush your teeth, the thing, so these are again becoming part of your routines, your rhythms, not just, oh, punishment, something I got to do. Remember, these products support your rhythms, but they're not quick fixes. We're talking about how can we develop our lifestyles for a temple that's sacred that we've been gifted with. Quickly, I'll just share two or three of the sets that Young Living have prepared that'll make it a little bit easier to support your holy rhythms. For those people that really want just a very simple guided program during this time, a lot of people are asking for that. They don't want a lot of overwhelm, but they just like tell me what to do almost. I really highly recommend the 14-day reset. It's provides the structure while it honors your body as God's temple. And it will include that nutritional support that the body so needs. It comes in a wellness beverage. It includes the protein the body needs. Some of the protein that the body will need. And you can or cannot complement it with nutritional supplements. But again, we're talking about just focusing on consistency, not restrictions. But during the reset, you'll have fitness options, some really gentle movements, suggestions. It's easy to adapt it to whatever your ability is. The emphasis again on the fitness is more about circulation, not intensity. And then there's some personalized food guidance, very flexible food plans that'll support your energy, your balance, and also your lifestyle. Again, we're encouraging awareness, not perfection, and we can adapt it for individual needs and preferences. And then the practices that are also included support your emotional regulation, the breath work, the rest, the reflection. And it so aligns with our waffles, because all of this fits in with your water, your air, your food, your fitness, your love, your emotions, and your sleep all together. And I'm always here if this is something you want to do to help support you. So the coaching, all of the supports for the reset are free. You are only paying for the the Ningxia, your reset kit, and then all the support materials, including the monthly coaching we provide for you at no cost. Um, but perhaps your concern has more to do with hormones. And so I did want to make sure you knew about the daily hormone essentials. This is such a game changer for me. Um, I had to have a hysterectomy um, in 2014. And at the time, they were still struggling with hormone replacement. They still haven't figured it out. I chose not to do it, and yet I knew that it did put me at risk in some ways. This means that we now have a plant-based solution for the three stages of hormone health, whether you're in PMS, perimenopause, or menopause. And I can tell the difference. Daily hormone essentials, it's a hormone-free women's hormonal health supplement. So it doesn't have the hormones in it, but supports your hormonal system. And it blends the clinically studied botanicals. It has adaptogens, essential oils, and a fast absorbing gel. So it's kind of, it tastes kind of sweet, but it really doesn't have added sugar. It's wonderful. And it supports your healthy energy, your libido, your mood. It supports restful sleep, cortisol balance, and everyday stress management, while it also promotes that comfort through, what we're talking about, hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, and fatigue, all that without any added sugar or the side effects of typical hormone therapy. So those of us that have been looking for something for that, that's another way. So if you're looking to reset your temple, this is just one of the quick ways that you could do it. And the last one, people have asked a lot about in January, they want a detox. Oops, one more before we get that. How can I forget what is the hot topic today? All right. Meet the system that helps support your healthy weight management, because everybody's talking about it. But this has a clinically studied botanicals, as well as it has the postbiotics, and essential oils added in. And these ingredients work together to help your body use the fat efficiently, to maintain healthy blood sugar, okay, would keep those within normal range. So you feel good on the inside and you can be confident on the outside. Unlike the harsh alternatives, the balance and burn system is designed for daily balance without the side effects. It gives you wellness first, and you can feel really confident about what's going on. One of the things that's key about this is it helps support that GLP-1 production, but it does it in three ways in the pathway. It supports your gut health, which is important. It supports how your body metabolizes fat, but it also supports how your body metabolizes blood sugar, okay? All of these are important when we're talking about weight. And I'm so excited because of all the years that I've taught with nutrition, they're admitting now that many of the issues with obesity, it is a disease. There are biological things that are going on in people's bodies that have to be addressed. It is not just calories in, calories out anymore. And so we do need more support and help, in addition to addressing the emotional issues that have gone on with the shaming and all of that. Willpower, it's not about willpower, it is about biology. But this is a system, the balance and burn is a system that does that in a natural way that doesn't have the side effects. And so whole sessions on that. I just wanted to throw that out for people that might be interested in doing something like that during this time. And then lastly, I do want to talk about detoxification, because people always, the January, let's do a real detox. And I often caution people, because doing a detox sometimes, some of the drastic detoxes people do can be very harmful. They can throw so much at the body, it starts detoxing too fast. They have all kinds of issues coming on. I remember Dr. Darrell talking about it took a year, and he had to go to a naturopath to get things back in line because he tried to detox too fast going to a health food store. The the daily detoxification trio, is a system that kind of recognizes the two phases where there's a transformation and a neutralization that's supported by the essential nutrients and the pathways, again, like the gluconidation and methylation. And so it helps you to maintain open pathways that will include the good elimination through your kidney functions, and all that's really crucial as you're doing that. So you're using some really mild products like the liver tone, the whole body cleanse. These aid in the detoxing, the digestion, and the cleaning using whole foods. And that is really key if you want to do that, because it's really mild and it doesn't throw the body off balance. Again, we're talking about your body being a temple. And so we want to do things that are aligned in the way that God designed your body. Just quickly, I want to remind you, I always want you to get the best deal. I want to make sure that if you are interested in using any of these products that we've talked about, that you get that 24% discount. And remember, there's two ways you can do that. You can either order an order that has 100 PV, or if you put an order on loyalty with 50%, 50 PV, you're going to get points that you can redeem for free product. People on here could tell you about that. You get a free diffuser, and we talked about air quality after you place 2 consecutive loyalty orders, and you can earn free product every 3 months for the first year if you're on consecutive orders. So do take advantage of how to make sure you're getting discounts, and talk to me if you're interested in that, because I can really help you if you're talking about saving money. But let's just back up again, and I want us to reflect a little bit. We've talked about how important it is for us to reset the temple, not just look at resolutions. Okay, we're talking about our body, being stewards of our body, not trying to make it perfect and not punishing it. And we've talked about these pillars, the waffles pillars that uphold this sacred temple that we've been given. Water, air, food, fitness, love for yourself, others, emotions, and sleep. And I want you to just think right now, no judgment. I just want you to be honest. Which pillars feel most depleted for you right now? You might want to jot this down. Think about it later. And ask yourself, where have I been pushing when my body's been asking me to just listen? It really isn't a right or wrong answer. Awareness is a form of care. And as women, we're just talking about how to be aware of what's going on. If you're comfortable, you can type one word in the chat. Just type which pillar: the water, the rest, emotions, fitness, food, sleep, or love. The one pillar that you feel most depleted right now. If you feel comfortable doing that, do that. Just think about what your body is asking for right now. I'll give you a moment. And if not, something you can pray through as we finish this time or call together as we move through the month. And as we move through January together, I want our focus to be on restoring our holy rhythms, our hydration, our breath, our emotional regulation, our rest, compassion. You don't need to do everything, and you don't need to do it perfectly. All we're talking about is just beginning to be gentle with yourself. I do invite you to stay connected with us on a weekly basis. If you're on loyalty, remember you get a free coaching session with me every month, which has been wonderful in this last year. Those of us, it's been exciting to watch you grow. Please reach out to me for any questions. Make sure that you're a member of our Urban Oilers community, our Facebook group. And as we get ready to close, I want you to think about this one intention. This is one thing that you could pray daily, say to yourself daily as we move through. May we honor God not through striving, but through stewardship. May we reset the temple with grace, with wisdom, and with holy rhythm. May we honor God not through striving, but through stewardship. And may we reset this temple with grace, wisdom, and holy rhythm. I'd like to close with a special prayer for you and for me. As we started grounded and taking deep breaths, I encourage you to, again, if it works, to pause, close your eyes, ground your feet as I pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the gift of our bodies, fearfully and wonderfully made and lovingly called your dwelling place. As we begin this new year, we release the pressure to strive, to fix, and to perform. We choose instead the holy work of stewardship. Help us to listen to our bodies with wisdom and compassion. Teach us when to rest, when to move, when to breathe deeply, and when to simply be still in your presence. Restore what has been depleted physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Remind us that caring for the temple is not selfish, but sacred. That honoring our need for water, air, nourishment, movement, love, emotional honesty, and sleep is one way we honor you. Where there has been guilt, bring grace. Where there has been exhaustion, bring rest. Where there has been striving, bring peace. As we move forward into this year, guide us into holy rhythms, small, faithful practices that bring alignment, healing, and wholeness. May we walk gently with ourselves and trust you with the process. We offer this time, this intention, and this journey to you, trusting that you will meet us in every step. In your holy and loving name, we pray today. Amen. This is Dr. Nozella, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. You can use that QR code if there's anything that we talked about you're interested in, or please reach out to me at my website, my link here. I look forward to moving along with you in this challenge uh, as we decide that we are going to reset this year our holy rhythms. And it's just exciting, as I know God has so much He's going to do in all of your lives, because He has chosen to live in you. And that is just such a blessed gift. So be blessed, and thank you so very, very, very much for being with me today.